We're back. Frank Figliuzzi, I want to bring you back into this conversation because Jeff Bezos, and I trust all of Sam Stein's great reporting, and Roger Stone is a good likely subject, especially denying a crime he hasn't been charged with yet or had his home raided for yet. But let me read you, I think we're talking about Saudi Arabia because Jeff Bezos wrote about it in his post on Medium. So let me read you what he wrote. This is from Jeff Bezos' post last night. It's unavoidable that certain powerful people who experience Washington Post news coverage will wrongly conclude I'm their enemy. President Trump is one of those people, obvious by his many tweets. Also, the Post's essential and unrelenting coverage of the murder of its columnist, Jamal Khashoggi, is undoubtedly unpopular in certain circles. Several days ago, an AMI leader advised us that Mr. Pecker is apoplectic about our investigation, for reasons still to be better understood. The Saudi angle seems to hit a particularly sensitive nerve. Knit together for me, Frank, that observation, I think, put pretty diplomatically. I think the National Enquirer is tragically that one of the intersections between Donald Trump and Saudi Arabia, if you can believe that. And there's also some reporting out today, some signal intel that the New York Times reported on about MBS saying in a recorded call that was intercepted that he wanted to put a bullet in Khashoggi. So as the story gets worse for the Saudis, Donald Trump's best friend in the media gets more and more desperate to take down the news organization one of the news organizations reporting on it.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And that may be applicable when we're talking about AMI, Bezos, and Saudi Arabia. Now, understand that Saudi Arabia has an outstanding external and internal intelligence service. They are very capable of engaging in all kinds of dirty tricks, as we witnessed in the murder of Khashoggi, and certainly capable of operating inside the United States and acting in their own interests and acting in concert with a media organization like AMI. There have been reports publicly that AMI was seeking Saudi funding for their media enterprise. So there's already a nexus, there's already a relationship of some kind, and one hand washing the other could easily have happened here. We could be looking at yet another foreign entanglement involving our media, this administration, and the attempts to stifle free and open reporting against this administration.
Right. Prosecutors will have AMI in a vice grip. They used to have some protection when they were allegedly a media organization. Now they're starting to look more like a criminal enterprise. And in fact, in the Michael Cohen case, in open court, they admitted that they funneled hush money payments as a campaign contribution to Donald Trump. And there was a non-prosecution agreement which required them to obey the law just for 3 years. That was too much to ask. Now we're looking at extortion, blackmail, possibly even revenge porn. Right. And these cases are relatively easy to prove because, of course, it's not AMI as a corporation that's doing this bad stuff. It's individual people who, when push comes to shove, will turn against each other. We will find out what happened.
Well, it's easy to prove because they literally wrote it out. Yeah. You know, they weren't like hiding the ball. They said, we have this and we will release it.
I just love that we're in a place where you can say revenge porn in the 4 p.m. hour.
And this is what we're looking at here. This is, you know, the Enquirer at this point is not really operating as a newspaper. They're operating as an Oppo research place, right? They're basically just digging up information on Trump's enemies and handing it to other people. And as sort of Frank,
publishing it.
And publishing it. And as Frank sort of alluded to, isn't this essentially what we saw with WikiLeaks and the Russians? You know, that Russia goes and hacks into the DNC, hands it to WikiLeaks, who operates as a pseudo-media operation, and then we sort of fed on the information. That's essentially what you have happening here. Some government entity, because I can't imagine that it doesn't, the level of sophistication it would take to break into Jeff Bezos' phone, because I'm sure he doesn't have a regular phone. He doesn't have my droid. Okay, he's got some. He's probably got to be operating all. He's got too much important information.
Definitely flip phone.
But he does have his $63 billion to find out what happened.
Exactly. So the likelihood that that information is being used by foreign entities, and again, I don't think that any government agency could be operating in our country without getting tacit consent from ours, and that's the concern.
Well, look, the other thing about the Saudis and MBS is just, I mean, we saw it with Khashoggi, but you can't emphasize enough how much they would go to great lengths to protect MBS, his image. You know, there was the glossy Saudi magazine that just appeared around the time of MBS's visit last year on supermarkets all across the country, portraying him as this reformer and change agent and all of these things. And so, you know, they not only have the capabilities, they have the desire to do something like this, and all in the interest of protecting what they see as the future of their entire country and livelihood.
And Frank, I read today that this relationship between the Trump White House and the Saudis alive and well. I think Jared Kushner on his way to the region. What do you make of the intimacy between the Trump orbit and MBS?
I think it's part and parcel of a much larger issue, which is the desire to turn position and power into personal profit for this administration. And so we keep learning of new and newer entanglements with foreign nations and Jared Kushner and paying off of debt and solicitation. There's been reports out there for a while now that even foreign heads of state have been complaining about getting hit up by Kushner and or others in the administration. Eventually, this is going to come crashing down. You don't do this in a vacuum. There's too many eyes on this. There's too many intelligence services intercepting communications. This is not Manhattan real estate deals. This is the real deal in geopolitics today, and they're going to get caught at it.
Frank, with the scare of the day for me, thank you for that. We're going to sneak in our last break. We'll be right back.